Hi, this is Kathy Keller, and I would like to make my final reflections available to everyone on my page. I guess I came into this project thinking it would be a typical group collaboration project that would be disappointing, fragmented conversations, and we would just do a paper and submit it. I never expected that we would actually apply the concepts of Wikinomics to our project and truly take collaboration in a group environment in school and truly apply the vision that was written and presented in Wikinomics. I think in my job I'm typically told there's management style, and to use this at work, of tight, loose, tight. And you have a tight scope, and then management presents the scope to the team, and then the team is allowed to use whatever path or tools that are necessary in order to achieve the end result. And then in the end, management steps in and tightens up and closes the project and makes sure that all the objectives are met. I think that is really, that management style is a reflection of Wikinomics. And I think this group really took that whole concept, and we all started out with our own ideas of how we would present a technology that allows for collaboration. And during that process, we realized that we were actually stumbling on all the tools that could be used to collaborate. And I think that was my aha moment. And I found that this group had the ability to learn from each other, and we learned about the different products that each of us could bring to this project. We learned that we all have a very diverse IT background. We all learned we have a fairly good aptitude at learning technology on the fly. And we learned that even though we all have individually strong personalities, we use the technology to bridge our individual goals and achieve a group presentation. And I think during that process we learned the benefits and pitfalls of online collaboration. My presence was often a reality check to the enthusiasm of the group. I live in rural Wisconsin, southwest Wisconsin. I thought I had adequate bandwidth. I have wild blue satellite internet. However, my lack of bandwidth and sometimes even availability until after work was a bit of a hindrance to the group. Where I work, I have very strict restrictions on being able to access school email or school projects during the workday, and I frequently am not home until 7 or 7:30 at night when I do not have my kids at home. So I do not have the availability to communicate during the day, and that was a bit of a hindrance at times. I also did not have sufficient bandwidth, and some of the products I think demonstrated that you do have to still have sufficient bandwidth in order to use them. I also think that some of I was able to show that when we found a tool that I could use with calling in or Skype or whatever, Google Docs, those are all effective tools regardless of where you may be located in the world and what your technology that you have available to you can impact the final outcome. I think that my aha moment was identifying how, beyond the concepts of Wikinomics, what other criteria that were not discussed also impact the successful outcome of a collaborative project. And I think one of the biggest ones is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm allows for, and I think this group certainly had it, the group dynamics. It really raised the level of participation and tools that we investigated and took us off in a totally different direction. I think group chemistry is also very important. That kind of goes along with enthusiasm, but we all complemented each other. And I'm in another group where we strictly relied on the UW Stout tools such as email and the discussion boards and the locker, and we were failing miserably. It was for project management, and we couldn't, we had fragmented conversations. We never really grew as a group. I never felt like I knew my coworkers on that project. And as a result, I was not very proud of our final project, and it was very fragmented. And I think that the group chemistry that was allowed to be created by these collaborative tools certainly contributes to the successful outcome of a project. I also think the technological aptitude of the group was superior. I think those of us in IT frequently forget how challenging new technology or introducing a new tool can be to individuals in, let's say, a nonprofit group that wanted to investigate collaborative tools. They may not have the ability to use software and learn it on the fly. But I think this group really succeeded in finding some fairly simple technologies that basically, with a little bit of training, anyone could use. And that includes the Google Docs, DimDim, Skype. Those are all tools that are basically available to everyone, and everyone's becoming more successful in using them. And I think another area is that in Wikinomics, it frequently presented an ideal world where management would open up their business to outside collaboration regardless of business secrets, competitiveness in the workplace or in the consumer market, and disregarded some, I think, business common sense features that do need to be addressed when you open up your business to collaboration. I posted on the discussion board Sun Microsystems, which really embraced Wikinomics as a way of improving their product, and they basically almost went bankrupt because of it. Maybe it was because of their management style, and maybe it was because they didn't really incorporate some of the open source technology and then support it as a company. We were actually a customer of Sun. Their customer service basically disappeared. They presented products that were supported by third-party vendors that made you reluctant to spend $50,000 on a project when you had no when you had no idea if you would have support or backward compatibility or forward compatibility as you would move forward in their new versions of software. We had no idea who we would call for what type of issue. Posting it to a discussion board and relying on, well, maybe someone will answer is a great idea if it's not a key project or a product being used in your environment that needs to be fixed in 2 to 3 hours or less. And I think Sun, while they embraced a lot of this idea, and they actually bragged about it in their presentations to us in a demonstration about how open source has benefited and pushed them into a new dimension beyond other companies, and that meant we should purchase from them. Several key business items were just not addressed, such as support, forward compatibility in their product. In fact, one of their newest versions for one of the products we were looking at required an entire rewrite of all of our programs that were using it, which we switched companies. We couldn't afford to do that on 12 months notice, and I think that is why in the end they were sold. I think a more solid business approach would be to have taken those open source ideas and then train their staff and their support system to provide the ongoing support to businesses. And I think then businesses would have been more likely to buy their products, kind of like the Gold Company, where they opened it up but then incorporated it, and they owned the end solution, and then that way they benefited from the collaboration, but they did not make themselves vulnerable to too many outside influences. I think in the end all of the products were really good. I've already recommended DimDim and Skype to friends of mine who are doing grant work in nonprofits, but I think one of the biggest comments made by GAR is the lack or the inability of using the Learn to Stout and the fragmentation that causes in the student environment. And I really agree with it. And I think maybe start by looking at Google Docs as possibly a future collaborative tool. It allows for video, it allows for editing of documents and an exchange of ideas. There's Google Groups where you can open them up and people can access them and collaborate in a group environment, and perhaps at a better way of better method than what Desire to Learn offers. And I think I would recommend to UW Stout moving towards Google Docs and then incorporating Skype as a collaborative tool for group projects. I think that this project was an incredible opportunity to not only learn from my co-students, but also to put personalities and abilities with their names. And I have to say that I was very proud to be a part of this group and part of this final project. So thank you very much, and I will see you on the next project.